Hey, what's up guys, Sir Emanon here, back with another episode of Road to 1000 DuelingBook rating. This time I'm going to be playing Gouki, which is pretty similar to the list that I showcased in the other video. And don't worry, I will have a deck profile of that deck up pretty soon, just so I want to make sure that whatever list that I put up there is one that I'll be satisfied with and one that will be relevant for at least a good portion of the format. And then we are going to be up against Dinosaur today, which is another pretty strong contender for one of the top decks of the format, hovering in the neighborhood of tier 1, tier 2-ish. But yeah, I figured, Gouki is a pretty interesting deck this format because it can take use of some of the best cards and engines that the game has to offer at the current moment, but it doesn't necessarily have like as much resiliency in terms of like its initial combo, but if it can grind, it also does that very, very well just because the nature of Gouki's floating. So it has some niches, obviously has its downsides, but I think it has a pretty interesting spot in the format that I think is definitely unique to itself. It fills its own niche. But yeah, we're going to be going ahead and getting started here. Our opponent wins the die roll and lets us go first. Oh yeah, one more thing is that if you guys missed yesterday's video, I am actually hosting an online tournament series on my Discord server again. Signups went up yesterday, and they'll be up until the Friday, September the 25th. So if you guys want to take part in that, be sure to join my Discord server. The link is in the description below as always, and we would love to have you. It's just a current format TCG, Dueling Book tournament, where rounds will last several days each, just to give players a chance to coordinate schedules and play from around the world, and just I'll have a lot less stress than maybe like a one-day tournament, which I do plan on hosting possibly something of that type. You can think of like the LCS or MBT's quarantine series, something along those lines that I will probably do eventually, but that requires a lot more setup and a lot more actual structure. So I'll put that kind of as a to-do sort of thing for myself. But anyways, enough of me rambling there. We're gonna go ahead and get started here. So like I said, he wins a die roll. He lets us go first because it's Dinosaur. He opens Pankratops, Nibiru, and Token Collector for his like go second cards, like his dedicated go second cards. Which I mean, Token Collector also can combo with Lost World, of course, so has value there. And with people still playing Link Cross and to some extent Auroradon with like Infernoble and stuff, this still definitely has value in the format. And again, just synergy with dinos. Even with the absence of like as much Adamantipator and like with Eldritch Synchro not being as popular, it still has a lot of utility, just because it is Dinosaur again. But our hand is pretty good. Like I mentioned in the other video, you generally just want to open any Gouki plus Warrior Extender. This hand kind of is unfortunate because you can't really play through hand traps very well. So that is one of the aforementioned weaknesses of the deck, but it's something that I was working on trying to fix with the build. Just try and open more cards that would let you play if you get stopped on your most critical choke point. But we're going to go ahead, special forward and normal the Suprex. Go into Isolde, pretty standard stuff. Trigger both of the effects to grab yourselves Headbat off the Suprex and then Twist Cobra off the Isolde. Whichever Gouki you grab off the Isolde, it's basically just whichever one that you you don't plan on summoning. So it just depends on what you opened with and what other Goukis that you might be able to get away with summoning. Like, if you have more Goukis, you can just add whatever one you want for next turn and then like pitch another Gouki off the Headbat, so like you can get more value off rematch, because then you just get an extra name and an extra search that turn. So that's something to think about. So that would be like a good case to maybe like add a Suprex if like instead of one of these other 3 cards, it was like an Octastretch or a Guts or something like that. Wouldn't work with Iron Claw. Keep in mind that like rematch has to summon different levels, not different names. So yeah, just keep that in the back of your mind, like all those little minor details. But yeah, this is nothing too crazy or too out of the ordinary here. So Isolde is going to go ahead and trigger, or activate rather, to send the Phoenix Blade and then summon Guts, which I like Guts more than Octastretch actually, because in certain situations you can find yourself just summoning this back for free. And then like it can just stick there, and then you can like go away next turn because it'll probably survive. Your opponent's probably not going to dedicate resources to this when they have to contend with like Dragoon and like Phantom Knight cards and like Appaloosa and stuff. So yeah, it's nice just to have there as like almost a guaranteed body that they can't get over, and then you get like more searches for the following turn, which is pretty good. But that's kind of just like a side sort of tangent. Headbat will go ahead and activate, targeting the guts, and then discarding the Twist Clover to summon itself. And all three of those are going to Appaloosa. Like that is the only time where like you have these three monsters to actually use the Nibiru. So my opponent probably was just not reading the Appaloosa and just hard making it right there. But yeah, that is a 6 summon, so there is a window, but this deck can play through Nibiru on that spot with just its rematch access, so that's actually fine. And I'll explain when I do the deck profile, and maybe I'll do like a separate combo video as well, so let me know if you guys want that as well. But yeah, we go ahead and grab ourselves, it was Suprex and rematch off of the Headbat and the Guts. So yeah, we have a 3-negate Appaloosa, then we can go ahead and rematch the 2 Goukis back. So this is what you're supposed to do, unlike in the other video where I forgot to Appaloosa in my extra deck. This is what it's supposed to look like. So yeah, Virus Swordsman, grab 0 Day, and then you link into the link 3, the Virus Berserker, which brings back both of the Codebreaker monsters. And then some people are opting to like go Link Cross and then do like instead of or rather before they link away the Guts, like they go into Link Rebo, so that they can go Link Cross and then tribute the token for the Link Rebo engrave, and then use those as like surrogate materials for the Verite Anaconda afterward. But like you would use the Link Rebo and the Virus Swordsman to go into Rusty, and then you would use a Shaping Dean as an extender with the level 4 0 Day to make a rank 4, and then the Boots plus the Link Cross itself would go into the Verite. So that's like another way to do it, but I don't know, I just really did not think that was needed, because like you have to dedicate more spots in your extra deck, whereas I prefer having utility personally. But I mean, it is an option if you really want to go that route. Like you are trading a Fog Blade for a rank 4, which I mean, it's like almost the same amount of disruption if you really think about it. So I don't really even know if that's like actually worth it, because you only get 1 Fog Blade from the Link Cross play, because you have to use Shaping Dean unless you have more extenders, obviously. But like if you have more extenders, then you can add on different boards with this deck too. But yeah, here I just opt to go straight into the Rusty, just because I think that again, like you're ending on like basically the same number of disruptions regardless, so like I don't see the point in going Link Cross personally, but that is just me. So he's gonna activate Nibiru. We're just gonna chain Appaloosa. I didn't put like the counters or tokens on it or whatever, but it's alright. We're gonna go ahead and use the Verite to send the Red Ice Fusion, and obviously the materials to make Dragoon. And the best thing about this deck is here I searched Shaping Dean because I already opened one of the Fog Blades. I'm only running 2, just because like you don't want to like open them, you just want to search them. But the good thing with Dragoon in this deck is that you always have free discard fodder because Phoenix Blade, which is my personal favorite part about just having Dragoon, because you never have to worry about discarding engine cards or discarding hand traps. Like it's always a free card, which is really nice. So my opponent draws another Tactics Talent. So that's actually going to be relevant because it'll help play through the Dragoon easier on his end. And then make a series of slight missteps here, as we're about to see. But I'll talk about them one by one. So yeah, he goes ahead and grabs Overraptor off the Fossil Dig. I tend to be pretty conservative with the Dragoon, because especially if I see them blind second game 1, right? Because that means that they're going to have like dedicated Ghost second cards, most likely, whether it be like an abundance of hand traps or could possibly be like board breakers. And although stuff like Dark Ruler and Droplet can't be responded to, like it's still nice to protect against like random other things, like things like Tactics, or even like Lightning Storm and back row could possibly hurt in some spots. So just things to keep in mind. I tend to try and save Dragoon for as long as I can, especially don't like to use it on monster effects, because like you have Appaloosa and you have the Fam Knight cards, so it's like not really that much of a point. Here I drop Fog Blade and not Appaloosa, because if I just Appaloosa, he can just go Battle Phase, and then I have to use a Fog Blade anyway. So yeah, and also like it has multiple effects, so you just use Fog Blade here for sure. Pinkertops comes down next, and then he actually activates it, which I do respond with Appaloosa here. And then in response, he uses tactics to take the Dragoon. This is something that I would save the Dragoon for, but unfortunately, because it is an activation of a hard once per turn, and then activation was negated, he can activate the second one. So that is what happens, and that definitely hurts. So here, this is the misstep I was talking about, is that I should have just chained Appaloosa, but I just didn't really, I don't know, I just didn't think about it for some reason. I don't really know why, I couldn't tell you. Appaloosa should have definitely been chained here. Yeah, I take damage from the Rusty being popped, and then Dragoon's gonna pop again. I figured he would hit over the Appaloosa, but its original attack is 0 anyway, so I don't take any damage. So it's like kind of the same thing as just leaving it on the board. I guess it's like an extra body. And here in battle phase, his Dragoon's on 4k. So I decide I'm just gonna Fall Blade my own monster at the start of the battle phase. I declared that I was gonna get the start of battle phase here, so I can target my own Verte so that he can't actually target for attacks. And then I had to explain that part, but yeah, main phase 2's got to link away the Dragoon, of course, because of tactics. And then he goes into Phoenix, and then pitches a token collector to hit the Shade Brigandine. And it was fine with me because I put him linking away the Overraptor, put the Fall Blade back in grave, so I could just go ahead and use it to bring back the Rusty. So that is pretty good here, and we are in a pretty commanding position. We know the last card in his hand is Nibiru because we negated it last turn, so we just have to figure out a way to basically game him through, or like keeping that in mind, like playing around the Nibiru. And there's about 300 different ways that you can do this, but I decided to just go for what I thought was like one of the simpler ways to do it, which is just Access Code Talker. And this is the 4th summon because Super X plus Gouki was 2, and then Reborn was 3, and this was 4. So not committing, of course, to the rematch here. We're just going to pop the Phoenix and then go for games. So even though our board got broken, it took our opponent pretty much all of his resources to be able to do it. And even though we didn't play that optimally because we missed the Appaloosa negation window, it was still okay in the end. Yeah, that was just kind of a lapse for me. I don't know. I don't really know what was going through my mind as I was kind of playing it out in the moment, but should have definitely used it. But game 2, he makes us go first again, and he's siding in Duster, which is pretty interesting because he's seeing like the Famnite cards. So like you're gonna see that it's kind of a conflict with the hand traps to some degree. Alright, so our hand is pretty good. We can actually play through some amount of disruption here. So yeah, Gouki plus their Super X plus Gouki is always very, very strong. It's immediately a lot stronger than just like Warrior plus Gouki. And here I leave a Super X on the board, or I leave and just Gouki in general on the board, so I can go in Izzle. And the reason for that is that I'm expecting this Izzle to not resolve, especially in game 2, and especially against the blind second deck. So the thought process here is that even if you get Yamad, like which is the worst case scenario because it not only negates but also takes the monster off the board, you still are able to combo off if you keep a Gouki name, so that headback can still trigger because at that point you at least go into Verte. And if you have a level 1 to pitch, which is like probably the best level, if you can bring it back. But I mean, if you searched off Izzled, then you can't bring it back, obviously. But in the cases where like you open a level 1 Gouki, like so let's say it was like Super X plus Guts instead of Super X plus Twist, you could like bring back the level 1 off of the rematch, like once you link away the Super X plus the headbat here, and then the level 1 obviously turns to the link rainbow, so you can go for the Rusty play before you even go for the Verte Anaconda. So that's pretty good. So yeah, here is the Gamma on the Izzled, and I actually could have done that exact play that I just described if I just used this Rhoda to search a Guts, and then pitched off the headbat. And then I only realized after I like summoned the headbat, I was like, wait, I should have actually done it that way. I didn't really think ahead well enough. But it's okay, mistakes happen. It was just a slight inoptimal usage of my Goukis here. But yeah, Masquerena is going to be my generic Link 2 choice. I really like it because it is it's possible to end on this card if you open really well, but it's also just a nice contingency if you get Nibiru'd, if you get hit with a hand trap like this. Just as having a pretty generic Link 2 Dark to be able to go into Rusty is really, really nice. So we grab our searches off our Goukis here. And then we rematch. Like I said, if I had searched Guts off Rhoda and pitched it off the headbat, I could bring back the Guts here, turn the Guts into Linkuriboh, and then go into Rusty with the Linkuriboh and the Mask. But I did not think that far ahead, so that is an error on my end. But here we're going to go for a Verte, just because I did mess up there. So I could actually have a lot more here. I could have had Rusty with double Fog Blade, which granted would have just eaten the Duster anyway, but at least would have been a bit more than what is currently on the board. Now, to be fair, against the specifically Duster, this is actually better because Mask does something. Like it interacts better with his hand than, you know, something like double Fog Blades. Because like, would I really want to negate that with Dragoon? Maybe, but it's highly unlikely. So yeah, there I hit the Gamma and not the Driver, just like I try and greed damage in, but he ends up you're gonna see he's gonna end up having an access to double Evolution Pill, and putting that Gamma in the grave actually put a non-Dinosaur type, which is kind of unlucky there. I don't negate the Extravagance just because I know that at any point he could drop like Tactics afterward, or he could drop anything afterward, and I'm kind of just stuck. Like maybe he draws like an Evenly or something. Like it's always risky because like maybe he could draw into like Dark Ruler or Droplet as well. So it's like kind of a 50-50. Like what are you trying to play around, and you can't really necessarily predict which one they'll have just off of one single activation of Extravagance, unless if you saw something in like previous games. So that's kind of why it's hard, because it can be a bit of a guessing game at times. But you know, it's kind of just some of the sacrifices you have to make, especially when you get like hand trapped and you don't have the ability to just interrupt freely. But yeah, I decided to negate the Veiler with the Overraptor, just seeing if he has Miscellaneousaurus, so that like I could just try and negate the Miscellaneousaurus so that hopefully he won't have a play afterward. But unfortunately, there's two more Fossil Digs in the hand. The thing with Miscellaneousaurus is that it's not a once per turn to activate its effect in the hand. If you successfully resolve it, then you can't activate the second one, or you can't use the second one. But if it was negated, then you can still apply the effect. It's kind of weird because it like applies a condition. So like you can't activate like redundant effects if it's like the exact same effect that already resolved, but it doesn't specify that necessarily, because like it doesn't ever really say hard once returned for its hand effect. So that's kind of like a wonky sort of ruling there. But more of the story is that he can in fact use the Miscellaneousaurus in his hand still. So I decide here to chain the Masquerena to the graveyard effect of Miscellaneousaurus, because my thought process is, okay, even though I just saw him search the Miscellaneousaurus off this Fossil Dig, I'm gonna go to Appaloosa here, and on summon he's gonna use Archosaur because I saw him search a baby, so that's clearly what he's going for with the banish of 1. So I can negate the Archosaur. He'll negate or like not negate but protect with Miscellaneousaurus, and they can negate the baby in grave, and with Veiler still affecting the Overraptor here, I thought that would be generally pretty good. Like he'll be able to resolve Pill, but I thought that like if I could just survive, I'd have enough follow-up maybe for next turn. It'd be hard to play through Conductor, but I figured that I would at least like buy myself some time. But you're about to see that that is very much not the case. So it goes into Linkuriboh and Secure Gardener, banishes for Pill, and then summons the hard drawn second copy of Conductor as well after booking the Dragoon. So yeah, I am very, very dead here. Like in terms of just not being able to come back realistically. I think I was down to 6k, so the one UC2 would have done 1,000, bring me to 5k, and then 35. Yeah, I was actually dead in life points as well. So I was just straight up dead. But anyways, going into game number 3 here, I decided to kind of do a risky play and go first. Just because I'm thinking like maybe he'll expect that I'm gonna make him start. Oops. But yeah, our hand is alright. I feel like I have to commit the headbat early, because if I don't, then if Isolde gets hand trapped and I don't have another Gouki to be able to extend anyways, so it's like I won't be able to use rematch. I won't be able to use anything that's actually relevant. So even though I'm using my headbat a bit prematurely, it'll be at least fine enough to where I can like play a little bit here. So I add a rematch and I activate to bring back the Iron Claw that I pitched off of the headbat. You also notice my opponent negated the first effect of Imperm. And then here I'm like, was it even worth going to the second copy? Because like I could go into the second copy, but like if that is a hand trap, then I just kind of wasted a link material. And if it resolves, like all I'm really getting is another Gouki name, which granted gives me another search, so it is technically a plus in the long term. But I figured that like the benefits did not outweigh the costs in that case. So I decided to just go ahead and go into Mask, and then go into Linkuriboh, and then try and resolve Rusty, but there's a second copy of Imperm. So we are not in a great spot here. We are pretty much forced to pass here, which is, again, kind of one of the weak points of the deck. Here I activate Isola to pay cost, so I can just go ahead and have extra cards in hand. And just go ahead and pass and hope that I'm not dead. Here I'm expecting fully that I'm going to die here. But my opponent's hand is not the strongest. There is an Extravagance, which can find stuff off the top. But it is a Giant Rex and a Gamma, so not particularly great things on his end. He goes ahead and normals Giant Rex after activating Lost World and gives us a token. Here I make a huge misplay. So, yeah, I realize it literally as soon as he declares that he's going to protect with Lost World. Because I did say that the attack was fine. But I literally checked my grave right after and I was like, oh, there is a Linkuriboh in the graveyard that I could actually just tribute the token for and nullify like everything. I could have just gone and started the battle phase, Linkuriboh, tribute the token, and then he can't clear anything. And then he's actually just going to pass on that, like if I did it that way. But I did not, so he actually just gets insane value. Overraptor is going to go ahead and trigger. And here I'm thinking, all right, now because I messed up, now I'm actually just dead. In terms of like the board that's going to result. In main phase 2, opponent uses Overraptor to try and pop the token. And here, it's where I remember I used the Linkuriboh. I'm like, yeah, I should have done this in battle phase, but whoops. I guess better late than never technically, because I denied him the extra body. But obviously using the Linkuriboh battle phase would have literally cost him to go Giant Rex pass. And maybe he would have like at that point just crashed so he could turn on his Gamma. But yeah, Miscellaneous Source is going to come down for 2 to grab Petite, so it destroys itself in the end phase and grabs the Pankratops. So it ends on Dolka Pankratops, which, is looking pretty good given this board state. Now here, I think of something pretty interesting. So I'm like, okay, I feel like I still have Rusty because I still have all my Phantom Knight cards. So I'm thinking, okay, if I can get rid of this Dolka by equipping this Phoenix Blade to the Rusty, it'll still be 100 over because they're both being reduced by 500. But Rusty will be on 24 because of the Phoenix Blade boost. Very, very relevant somehow here. And I'm thinking, okay, if he's smart, if he's like really, really big brain, he'll pop the Phoenix Blade when I go into battle phase, but at least that'll get rid of the Pankratops. So I'm like, I'm trading for either one of these. But if he does what I want him to do, he'll attribute the Pankratops and target the Rusty, which I was hoping he would forget was made with IP, because it was actually made that way with like the Linkuriboh and the IP. So then it can't be destroyed by card effects. So here I'm like, okay, if he does the play that I want, then I'll be able to out both of these cards. And then just actually win the game in main phase 2. So I'm thinking, okay, we're going ahead and equip the Phoenix Blade, which, somehow is relevant. And then we're going to hit over the Dolka. And it chains Pankratops and then targets the Rusty. And then I remind him that IP exists. So they're out pretty much the entire board. And we are looking pretty good to go for main phase 2. Go ahead and activate Rusty. He's going to go ahead and chain Gamma, which I'm totally fine with because Rusty, again, is still just going to stay on the board because it still can't be destroyed. So we're just going to go ahead and follow up with Super X because we had that from last turn. And with Reborn and Rematch, this is absolutely going to be game because I still have Verite Anaconda. I still have Appaloosa. So I have pretty much everything that I need to have. pretty much for the next turn and to be able to just wipe up the board here. So he is going to go ahead and concede as soon as I summon Isolde, I believe. So yeah, that is gonna be it. So I did misplay for sure in like both of the games that I actually did win. The Appaloosa activation, or activating Appaloosa, yeah, in game 1 I believe. I should have done it when he took my Dragoon. Not really any reason not to. And then in this game, it was, yeah, definitely should have used the Linkuriboh. Like it was such an obvious thing too, because like that interaction has been there for like a long time. Like Linkuriboh has always been good against Dinosaur for this exact reason, but for some reason it was just a lapse. I was not thinking very clearly, and this is the kind of thing that I mean where I'm like, I don't think I'm very good at the game right now, to be honest. I think that I just miss a lot of the really simple stuff that the majority of people would catch. I'm just playing not that great, but that's kind of why we test, and that's why we play unrated. So like, hopefully this series can show that even in your wins you can learn stuff. So that is the main takeaway here. But that is going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like as well as any thoughts or feedback in the comment section down below. Feel free to subscribe for more informative and competitive video content. If you want to, you can follow me on Discord, Twitter, or Twitch. All three links in the description as always. Remember, the tournaments on Discord are going to be starting next week, so join that if you want. But until next time, thank you guys for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you in the next video. See you guys.